on Envy's side. And well, that's what happens when you go around the corner. Happy with one dig. Oh, and another one! Oh, and a third! Fighting bullets! Happy's gonna get the quad kill in the ace! What is this?
They cannot go for Leopard. They're trying to recall right now, but they're going in for the Nexus toys. Can you believe it? The KT boys go straight through into the base. Genji comes down as well, but the Nexus goes down.
Counter-Strike is the most popular first-person shooter that's currently available on PC.
It's a first-person shooter that originated from Counter-Strike playing a lot of Half-Life that turned into a worldwide phenomenon that everybody plays. Not everybody, but a lot of people play and enjoy.
Counter-Strike and League of Legends are high-skill, high-stress games. They create a competitive environment that forces 5 random individuals who've never met each other to work as a team and complete team objectives. Over the past several years, both communities have been growing at an astounding rate, with League of Legends queuing with around 27 million players a day, and at any given time, there's around 12 million people queued for Csgo. My team and I decided to investigate what these growing communities were like and how the gameplay affected how they treated each other. But before we could investigate these communities, we had to figure out what these games were about and how they started. Counter-Strike started off as a mod to Half-Life in 1999. Now, older players often refer to this first version as Counter-Strike 1.6. It was a hit right off the bat, and by 2003, Valve came out with Counter-Strike Condition Zero. Unfortunately, this was a bust, as the graphics weren't the best and the single-player missions were downright boring. However, in 2004, Counter-Strike Source came out with improved graphics and gameplay. And by 2012, Counter-Strike Global Offensive came out, which basically had the best graphics as well as a new feature called Competitive Mode. Counter-Strike is a 5v5 team game where terrorists either try to plant the bomb or eliminate all CTs. And CTs try to either eliminate all the Ts or defuse a planted bomb. There are a total of 30 rounds, and the first team to 16 rounds wins. In 2006, Riot Games was founded and League of Legends started development, with the idea of creating its own game genre called MOBA. It was inspired by Defense of the Ancients, which was a popular mod for Warcraft 3. In 2009, League of Legends Clash of Fates was released to the public. The game left alpha stage in 2010 and beta began. Season 3 started 2014 and the World Championship got over 32 million views. The most views in esports history to this day. They reported 67 million unique views per month. Finally, in 2015, a new HUD was added that gave the game a sleek display. League of Legends is a MOBA, multiplayer online battle arena. You battle with your team to fight the enemy team to destroy towers guarding the enemy base, and then destroy said base. After learning what these games were about, my group's next task was to solo queue into some games to experience firsthand what these games were like, as well as how the players interacted. When playing CSGO, I found that most of the players were really nice and welcoming to new players in both low ranks like Silver 1, as well as some of the higher ranks like MGE. There was some etiquette that most of the players went by. At the beginning of the game, most players would say GLHF in chat, which stands for good luck, have fun. When switching sides in half, pretty much everyone typed GH, meaning good half. Finally, at the end of each game, everyone says GG, which is good game. When asked what the players thought of the community, most said it was pretty bad because lots of the players were salty and people were just jerks to each other. However, I didn't really find this to be true. Most of the players were respectful and gave callouts, or praised people even when they failed. Some teams were even fun to joke and mess around with. I'd be lying to say I didn't meet any toxic players, and in the occasional game, there was one player on my team, or the opposing team, who would rage at everything and everyone. But overall, I really enjoyed the people I was playing with, and they seemed to treat everyone fairly. My experience of League of Legends was not quite the same. Part of this could be I am terrible at League. There was the occasional player who helped me out and gave me advice. But for the most part, I was called a feeder and being constantly ping spammed. A feeder is basically someone who dies a bunch to the other team's champions or characters and feeds them levels. And ping spam is when someone spams alerts on the minimap, saying either fall back, group up, or things like that. When asked what players thought of the community, everyone said it was the most toxic gaming community. But even though a lot of the players insulted each other, there were players who were just silent or made a few calls and seemed to just play the game for fun and weren't toxic at all. Now that we had a basic understanding of the game, our next stop was Clutch Gaming Arena, to see these players up close and personal. Clutch is a LAN gaming arena that allows gamers to not only play on better computers with less lag, but also have a hangout place to meet up with others who share the same interests. Alright, hi.
Hey!
So what's your name?
My name is Daniel.
So, what are you doing down here?
I am playing, or I was playing, in the $3,000 Counter-Strike tournament. My team was naked with the fan on, but we played versus Skysound, and we lost to Glocks. And we lost to Glocks.
What is the community of Counter-Strike like?
I would say, honestly, really friendly.
Yeah?
First heard about this place probably 3 or 4 months ago when I was seeing anybody in the Colorado area at like tournaments or meetups for Counter-Strike, and they obviously do the meet here on Saturday nights where everybody just gets together and does a fun 5 versus 5 pickup games, and it's a good way to meet people and learn new strategies. And it's a lot of fun. So
Sam, tell me where
the thing
it
about
is.
that is they're fairly accepting of all skill levels. I've seen people of ridiculously low and ridiculously high skill levels not getting pissed off saying, oh, well, he sucks, I don't want to play with him. Seeing as how it's just for fun.
What are some terms that people who are new to Counter-Strike might have no idea?
I've read threads of people complaining about like their roommate or girlfriend or somebody in the same room with them while they're playing, making fun of them for the terms they use and call-outs. Like, oh, you're all talking about your long bananas over there, referring to long is a call-out on some maps, banana is a call-out on one map, just referring to locations on the map that are completely meaningless when taken out of context.
Are there any like players or YouTubers who really inspired you to like either start the game or like how you play?
I think the WarOwl was the first YouTuber I really started watching because he was very down-to-earth, basic guys.
After the interview with Daniel, I decided to check out who this WarOwl was and his thoughts on the CSGO community. WarOwl is a pretty big full-time YouTuber with almost 800,000 subscribers. He makes a lot of video tutorials on the game, as well as professional match casting and just having fun with Counter-Strike. I sent him an email asking some basic questions about the community, and to my surprise, he responded. My first question was, what are some common terms in the CSGO community that outsiders might be confused about? His response was, I could fill a dictionary with terms that folks unfamiliar with the game would recognize as nothing but gibberish. Frag, for example, is an old-timey video game term for a kill. If I said purple smoke mid to B, green lurk, there's an opper holding Xbox, push at 55, bomb through tons, smoke BDD, would that mean anything to you? Have skins been a positive or negative impact on CSGO? He responded,
Weapon finishes have been positive to increase the player base of the game and keep a large portion of people interested, as well as fund the game and community creators such as myself. They have been incredibly negative when it comes to the community because of the advent of third-party gambling sites, addiction, scams, and even an entire match-fixing scandal in the professional scene, where the currency for the throw in the game was weapon finishes. It's just madness. Why did you choose to play Counter-Strike? WarOwl said, I originally started Counter-Strike 16 years ago, when my cousin invited me to a cyber cafe. I was immediately hooked. The appeal of Counter-Strike is the difficulty, that with time and practice you can get better at the game. In most games, the progress system works where your character gets better over time. In Counter-Strike, your character doesn't get better, you get better. For my final question, I asked, what do you want people to know about the CSGO community? WarOwl responded, just know it's a diverse collection of highly competitive people on the internet, so you have to know what you're getting yourself into. You'll meet some of the worst scum of society who'll yell racist, sexist, bigoted comments at you. But at the same time, I've met some of my closest friends through Counter-Strike who are just fantastic people. For my next interview, I interviewed Jake, who is a worker at Clutch.
So what is the Counter-Strike community like?
Extremely competitive. Actually, like really respectful. Usually, FPSs get pretty wild in the pro scene and semi-pro scene. There's a lot of smack talking going back and forth, but these guys are pretty much the most professional I've seen.
How would you compare it to, like, say, League communities or other gaming communities?
League of Legends is kind of, you don't have time to talk smack. You have to really focus on what you're doing in the game, and after games, you're pretty much just reflecting on what you could do better the next time. So it's also pretty much the same community, but different play styles, different game.
So, how long have you been playing Counter-Strike?
I've been playing Counter-Strike since I was 13 years old, which was like in the 60s.
So, what version was that?
Counter-Strike 1.3 is when I started.
Why did you start playing?
Well, I used to go to LAN centers all the time, and that's what everybody was playing.
You've been playing CSGO for a while. How long do you see it in your future?
In my
still
future,
have
yes.
two more groups
yes,
after
I plan
this.
On continuing to run as many of these events as I possibly can until I die, which is, hopefully a long way away from now.
Speaking of which, what are you running right now?
So we're running a 3K tournament. Basically, we have 16 teams that have traveled from across America just to compete this little LAN. We're broadcasting on Twitch.tv, so anybody can come in and watch it.
Where do you see CSGO in, say, 5 years?
Best I can do is a PT.
I can't tell the future, but I know that there's a lot of buzz on North American scene.
Give me more.
Specifically with Turner TV, they're the big cable mobile, they want to make it so that all of these pro tournaments are viewable on television rather than the internet.
Oh, wow.
Which is extremely interesting and intriguing. If a company like that is interested in promoting that type of product, that means that it's going somewhere.
Something I've seen a lot
so you see it going pretty far.
Oh yeah.
Is there anything else you'd like to add about like the community or anything like that?
68
the
to 12,
community
15,
is
13. They're within
growing.
5 of
It's,
each other.
Six of each growing rapidly, which is great. It's good for esports and gaming in general.
It's amazing how high they are.
So, what's your name?
My name's Rob.
What's your League of Legends name?
Island E3.
So, what is League of Legends?
League of Legends is a multiplayer online arena, real-time strategy game that was developed by Riot Games in 2009, I'm pretty sure. It's a free-to-play game supported by microtransactions, and I think the player base is pretty close to 20 million a day now. It was originally a mod of Warcraft that was called Defense of the Ancients, but that's kind of split off into its own game now.
How did you start playing League?
I think it was about 6 years ago. I just randomly saw a video of it on YouTube, decided to give it a try, and kind of been playing since then.
Why do you, or did you play League?
I just really like being competitive, and it gave me a way to be the best at something.
So how does someone get into the League community?
Well, first step would be making an account, downloading the game. And then it would really help if you have a couple of friends that already play the game, because they can kind of show you the ropes, get you started. Otherwise, there are a couple people that will be a bit toxic if you just hop in and try to learn on your own.
And so how would you describe the League community in a nutshell?
In a nutshell would be, if you want to have a good time, try not to interact with people in the community too much. Because you will find people that you'll have a great time with, but 20 million people, you're gonna find a lot of people that just want to make you have a bad time.
What do you think about the professional scene of League?
Playing the game for that long, I feel like a lot of people try to emulate the professionals too much, so they forget it's a game. So they try to just play 100% serious all the time, when they could be playing it as a game and have a lot more fun with it.
Why do you think League has the highest player base in the world?
Because even if you play 3,000-4,000 games like I have, every single game will be something different. It'll never be the same thing twice.
And for my final question, where do you see League in, say, 5 years?
In 5 years, I don't know, honestly, because at some point it's gotta peak and then it'll either become League 2 or it'll just go the way of games before it and crash and burn.
Thank you for your time.
No problem.
Alright, so what's your name?
Isaac Tucker.
And what are you doing here today?
I am shoutcasting all the matches today.
What are your thoughts on like the CSGO community?
On the community?
Yeah.
Being a bunch of dorky teenagers. CSGO community is just a bunch of people who like playing the same video game and try to play and have fun together.
How do you think skins have like affected the game or the culture of the game?
They made it into what it is today. They forced a new element into the game that you can customize your gun to what you want it to be. How much time and money you're willing to put into it.
Have you bought any skins?
Yes, I've almost bought all of my skins.
Nice, so you have a pretty much full loadout?
Not really, but I played with the skins I like the most. So
That's good. What's your favorite skin?
my favorite is gonna have to be my knife.
What's your name?
I have a butterfly fade.
Where do you see CSGO in, say, like 5 years?
ESPN, prime time.
ESPN? Really?
Prime time ESPN, 100%.
Do you think it's gonna like completely take over like the sports and everything?
No, I don't think football's ever going to go down from there, but I think esports are going to cater to a new generation that will into esports over real
Right.
sports versus that stuff.
Well, is there any etiquette like players go by that like you kind of have to do in the game?
In the game, are you talking like at a LAN here, or are you talking
Kind of whatever.
just
Like,
etiquette? If you see a guy with his knife out, you better pull yours out and be ready for a fight.
are there any terms that outsider people, like people on the outside, would have no idea about?
He's on cat planting A, or he's on A planting for cat. If I said that in a random conversation, 98% of the people wouldn't know what I was talking about.
So pretty much like all the call-outs and stuff.
Pretty much all the call-outs, all the goofy meta, that kind of stuff.
Who is Gaben?
Who's Gaben? Gaben is Gabe Gould. He is the owner and co-founder of Valve Software, so he's the guy who's really responsible for pioneering at-home video gaming with Steam and all that stuff. Great games, pretty much.
So my reaction to CSGO was crazy. I went in not expecting anything. Been to Clutch once before. I'd been, playing League for a little while. I was surprised at how many different types of people I saw there. You know, I didn't necessarily see the normal gaming type that everybody would think of, where they're just like nerds, like just nerds. I was just amazed at how outgoing they were, and how they just wanted to spend time with their friends, and just hang out, have a good time. And then the time when I went to the tournament, it was crazy. There was, you know, people hanging out, playing games together, just having a fun time together. And, you know, when you look at the gaming community, that's not what you expect. But once you dive into it, that's definitely what you find, is the camaraderie and the friendships that are created.
One dude got a 9-year ban. Something like that. They gave out 10-year ban. My friend is banned. Of course it's stupid, but at the same time it goes with like the mentality of Five Power, where you're gonna get banned from anything because you're stupid. Yeah. You know. Five Power kind of screwed up. Oh, dude, this is going to be so hard. 1v3. Oh, 1v3. If he gets this.